Hello everyone, today we are breaking down Season 1, Episode 2, The Rogue Prince of House of the Dragon. Remember to like the video, helps out the channel a lot, and subscribe, and yada yada yada, let's get to it. The first thing we see is sailors being nailed to wooden posts and crabs feeding on their bodies. If you remember from the first episode, Corlys Velaryon mentioned that the Triarchy has taken over the Stepstones. The Triarchy is led by Craghas Dreher, also known as the Crab Feeder. This is his handiwork. We now find ourselves at a small council meeting. King Viserys is at the head of the table. The Hand of the King, Otto Hightower, is to the left of him. On the right, we have Lionel Strong, the Master of Laws, Melos, the Grand Maester, Lyman Beesbury, the Master of Coin. Rhaenyra is here as well as the Cupbearer, so her role hasn't really changed since becoming heir to the throne. They are discussing how Sir Ryman Redwyne has died. He was the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. He served many years and was a great knight worthy of the title. Sir Harold Westerling is taking over as the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. He wants to find Sir Ryman's replacement right away. The Kingsguard can only have 7 members. They serve for life. As a member, they can take no wife or hold any lands. Otto and Sir Harold have invited some candidates to court to fill the spot. Corlys Velaryon comes walking in pissed. He is the master of ships for the small council. The Stepstone situation is getting worse. His prediction in the first episode was correct. The Triarchy are clogging up important trade lanes and are capturing ships. One of his own ships was taken, the crew was killed. That is what we saw in the first shot of the episode. Corlys wants the king to take action. He wants him to seize the Stepstones from the Triarchy. Viserys does not want to start a war with the Free Cities. The Triarchy are backed by Tyrosh, Myr, and Lys. If Viserys takes an army to the Stepstones to take them, the Free Cities may take this as an act of war and then send their main army. Then we have a Westeros versus the Free Cities war, which would lose money for the traders of Westeros, and there would be a lot of dead. Corlys says that the Crab Feeder has no reason to fear us. He points out that Daemon, Viserys' younger brother, has taken Dragonstone with an army of gold cloaks. He has held it for 6 months, and the crown has done nothing about it. So we have a pretty good time jump from the first episode to the second. Corlys points this out because if Viserys will do nothing to take back Dragonstone from his brother, why should Craghas think he will do anything to take the Stepstones? The Stepstones are nothing to Viserys, but his brother holding Dragonstone is a big middle finger to him. Before things escalate any further, Viserys tells Corlys that he has sent envoys to Volantis and Pentos to find a common cause to put an end to the Stepstones situation, which helps keep Westeros out of dealing with it directly. Rhaenyra, still in the room, decides to chime in, saying, "We have dragon riders, let's go to the Stepstones and show the might of House Targaryen." Corlys likes this idea. He really is being affected by this directly and wants to put an end to it as quickly as possible. The rest of the small council scoff at this, thinking this is an opinion of a child. They then send her away to help pick the new Kingsguard member. She is clearly annoyed about this, feeling that even though she is the heir, nobody is taking her seriously. They are treating her like a child. We are with Sir Harold, Rhaenyra, and Otto as they pick a new Kingsguard member. Harold is giving a brief description of each knight, their combat and tourney experience. Rhaenyra asks Harold if any of the knights here actually have fought in real battle. Harold says only one, Sir Criston Cole. We get a brief description again of how his father was a steward for the Lord of Blackhaven, which is pretty low compared to the other knights here whose fathers are lords or they have great family names. Rhaenyra is really interested in Criston's war experience. She leans in when listening to him, whereas the other knights, she looked less than enthused. Him being very handsome probably helps too. Criston fought in the Dornish marches. After a year of being a foot soldier, he was knighted by Lord Dondarrion. She seems happy with that and chooses Criston Cole as the newest member of the Kingsguard. Otto tells her not to be too hasty. The other houses here, such as Mallister and Crakehall, are important allies to the crown. They could take this as a slight, having basically a hedge knight be chosen over them. Rhaenyra does not care. She believes that her father, the king, should be defended by someone who has seen real combat, and she sticks by her choice. We now find ourselves with Viserys and Alicent Hightower, who is the daughter of the Hand of the King, and Rhaenyra's best friend. Viserys is talking about the Valyria city model, about when the Dragon Lords live and where blood mages worked on their craft. Alicent is very impressed with it and the work Viserys has done, which hey, the quickest way to a guy's heart is to tell him the hobby he loves doing is really cool. Anyways, the two have really become friends over these 6 months. In a way, it's nice for Viserys just to have someone to talk to. We also find out that Rhaenyra does not know about these talks. I'm sure nobody really does other than Otto. We are now in a sept with Rhaenyra and Alicent. Rhaenyra has figured out that the small council is trying to get Viserys to remarry already. That's why they wanted her to leave earlier, so they could discuss a potential match. She believes it is solely so they can replace her as the heir to the throne. Alicent tells her that Viserys chose her as the heir. Rhaenyra replies that he chose to spurn Daemon, so she is worried about her position. If Viserys does remarry and have a boy, people will try and get him to be the next king. It doesn't matter that Viserys is backing her. Rhaenyra starts crying, frustrated over the fact her father can't see her as a woman rather than his little girl. Alicent tells her to talk to him. We are now with Viserys, Corlys, and Rhaenys Targaryen. Viserys just wanted to discuss how tempers ran a little hot today at the small council meeting, and how he values the bond between their two houses. Corlys also apologizes for getting mad as well. Viserys explains his position, that as king his obligation is to avoid war until it's unavoidable. Corlys tells Viserys that their enemies see weakness from the crown right now. A girl named Heir, Daemon holding Dragonstone with no repercussions, a colony being set up in their most valued shipping lane. Corlys says when you see a storm, you can either go right into it or sail around it, but you cannot wait for it to come to you. So he disagrees with Viserys' take. He then proposes to join their houses. He wants Viserys to marry his daughter Laena, to show the realm that the crown's strongest days are ahead. If Viserys did this, the Valyrian fleet would be bounded to him by blood, making House Targaryen even more powerful. We now find ourselves with Viserys. His finger, which he cut on the Iron Throne in the last episode, did not heal. He has to put it in with maggots, which may save the finger. This just shows that Viserys is stressed out, and now his body is failing him. It's not healing from wounds that should go away in a week's time. Viserys tells Otto that Corlys proposed a marriage to him to his daughter Laena. Otto is a little taken aback by this. He knows that a match with Laena is a lot stronger than with Alicent, his daughter, who he has been trying to get to seduce the king. Otto thinks Corlys has overreached his position because of what I stated before. Otto then goes on to say Laena is very young, she's only 12. Melos is there as well and says the match with Laena would be good, it would heal the wounds from the Great Council. At the Great Council, they chose Viserys over Rhaenys, Laena's mother, which still bothers Corlys and the rest of the Valyrians. This match could mend those feelings. Otto can't really disagree with that, even though he clearly wants to. We now find ourselves with Corlys. He smiles as he watches his daughter Laena walk with Viserys through the gardens. He really wants this match. Viserys looks pretty uncomfortable walking with Laena. In their conversation, we find out that Vhagar, the largest dragon we will see in the show, is currently riderless and currently nests somewhere on the coast of the Narrow Sea. We then hear Laena tell Viserys that she wants to join their houses and how she will provide many children for him. Viserys looks very annoyed by this, knowing that Corlys told his daughter to say this, which, as I said before, he really wants this match. Rhaenyra watches the two walk from a balcony. She looks annoyed about the situation. Rhaenys is there as well. Rhaenys can tell it bothers Rhaenyra. She tells Rhaenyra that Viserys will marry, and when he does, if one of the children is a boy, the men of the realm will expect the boy to be heir, not her. Remember, Rhaenys was passed over to rule because she was a woman. She knows the order of things. Rhaenyra points out that they passed over specifically her, throwing a jab back saying it had nothing to do with you being a woman, they just didn't like you. Which could be possible, but Rhaenys would never be able to admit that to herself, She has to believe it's because of the system rather than finding fault in herself. We are now with Viserys and Alicent. He tells her how the small council is urging him to remarry. Alicent asks if they have someone in mind. He tells her Rhaenyra Velaryon. She puts on a front and says a very strong match. She then starts picking at her fingers again. She knows if she's gonna bag Viserys, the one thing she has going for her is that they are friends. Viserys does not know she has an ulterior motive. Otto calls an emergency session for the small council. One of the dragon keepers tells them that Daemon had snuck into the dragon pit and stole one of the dragon eggs. He left a note for them as well, claiming he is still the rightful heir to the throne and that he is going to take a second wife, Lady Mysaria, that she is pregnant, and in the tradition of House Targaryen, a dragon egg will be placed in the babe's cradle. Most of the council agree that Daemon is just trying to provoke the king. Corlys says that the realm is watching. If he does nothing, people will think he is weak. Rhaenyra asks what dragon egg did Daemon take. The egg was Dreamfire's, which was supposed to be the egg for her brother Balon. Remember, Daemon called him the heir for a day. Viserys was pissed about this. He disowned Daemon because of that comment. And now he takes the egg that was supposed to be his son's? Viserys wants to go to Dragonstone himself to get Daemon, but Otto wouldn't allow it, saying it's too dangerous, that he and some of the Kingsguard will go. We are now on Dragonstone, the ancestral home of the Targaryens. We have seen this in the original show, Game of Thrones. Otto is accompanied by Sir Criston Cole and Sir Harold Westerling. The rest are made up of his household guard. They meet Daemon on the bridge catwalk thing. He is accompanied by his gold cloaks and Mysaria. He is also holding the egg. Otto tells him to leave the island, banish his whore, and give back the egg. In a way, he almost is trying to provoke Daemon. Remember, he really hates him. Otto has Daemon outnumbered. Everyone pulls their swords out. Then Caraxes, Daemon's dragon, appears on a cliffside. So Daemon still has the advantage. Otto orders everyone to sheathe their swords. We then see another dragon head towards them. It is Rhaenyra on her dragon Syrax. Rhaenyra came here to prevent bloodshed. Her uncle likes her, maybe a little too much. She knows he will at least listen to her. The two start talking in High Valyrian with one another. We then find out that Mysaria isn't even pregnant. Mysaria can speak High Valyrian as well and storms off because she was not aware of these lies Daemon told. Rhaenyra tells Daemon that if you kill me, you will be restored as heir. All you have to do is do it. Daemon stares at her for a while. I think in the back of her mind she thinks he considered it. He walks away and tosses her the egg. Daemon goes to see his Lady Mysaria. We have seen this room before in Game of Thrones. This is where they had the table map set up. We find out that Mysaria didn't know about the wedding either. Mysaria lets Daemon know she is not having children. Mysaria fears for her life. They may not put Daemon's head on a spike, but a common whore, they wouldn't even think twice about it. She tells Daemon that she came to him not for power or gold, but to be liberated from fear. The fear that common folk have to deal with every day. We are with Viserys again. He is looking at the gift Alicent gave him. It really meant a lot to him. He then goes to talk to Lionel Strong about the marriage proposition, since he has not heard from him yet on the matter. Lionel pretty much agrees with everyone else that Laena is a great match for him. Viserys, I think, knows it's a great match. He is just looking for somebody to give him an excuse to get out of it. He mentions her only being 12. Lionel says she will mature. Not the answer Viserys was looking for. Lionel tells him that Corlys will not be satisfied unless his blood will get to sit on the Iron Throne one day. And with Corlys having almost half of the realm's ships, he shouldn't make him angry. Viserys does not like this answer. He is the king. Corlys can't withhold resources if they need them, especially if they go to war with the Triarchy. Lionel agrees with him, but if he marries Laena, Corlys will be his ally no matter what. It's the best match he could hope for. We are now with Rhaenyra. Viserys has found out that she went to Dragonstone to retrieve the egg. He's not happy. She disobeyed him, and she is the only heir. If she died, the realm would be in a panic. She tells him how she was able to retrieve the egg without bloodshed. Viserys remarks how he forgets how alike she and Daemon are. which refers to how they just do things without thinking them over, which is very different from Viserys. Viserys starts talking to her about her mother, how she will never be replaced. Rhaenyra is glad her father shares her grief, but there is a but. He will have to take a new wife. He does tell her that he will not replace her as heir. So there is some reinsurance here, but as I said, they will still clamor for it if he and his new wife have a boy. We are now at a small council meeting. Everyone is here. Alicent is as well for some reason. Viserys tells the council that he has decided to take a new wife. Corlys starts smiling because he's pretty sure he has one. Viserys tells everyone he intends to marry Alicent Hightower. Rhaenyra looks at her friend in a mixture of sadness and anger. Corlys stands up pissed. Alicent seems pretty happy about the marriage, so does Otto, smiling away. He gives a little look to Corlys like, looks like I won, bud. Corlys storms out of the council. Rhaenyra follows after making eye contact with Alicent. This feels like a betrayal to her. That Alicent is her best friend. She knows how Rhaenyra feels about her father being remarried, and yet it's happening. We now find ourselves at Driftmark, which is the seat of House Valyrian. So Corlys did not take this well. He left King's Landing because of Viserys' choice. Daemon is there with him. He gives a brief history lesson of House Valyrian, how some texts say their house is older than the Targaryens, but they were not dragon lords. They earned their living from the sea, that they scratched and clawed their way to where they are today, that his house was built from his hard work, which not many other High Lords can say. Which Corlys is right, his house is the richest because of him. Corlys says that Daemon and him have been passed over too often. He then asks for Daemon's help with the Stepstones. Corlys tells him it's his chance to prove his worth to the realm. Corlys knows that Daemon is a great fighter, and he also has a dragon, making him a powerful ally. If they do nothing, an important shipping lane will be lost, and Corlys' house will be crippled. He will not sit by and watch as his house he built be destroyed. He also plays to Daemon's vanity. He knows Daemon wants glory, and war is a good place to get some. So what do you think of episode 2 of House of the Dragon? Leave it down in the comments below, and if you want more House of the Dragon content, please subscribe and like the video. Also check out the Twitter, link in the description below, and as always, have an awesome day.